The son of the Carter County storyteller Ashley McGlone has won 7 Toastmaster speech contests in the last year, making him one of the top speakers in the tri-state area, and his down-home sense of humor is going to warm your heart and give you hope. Help me make welcome Georgetown's own Ashley McGlone.
Let's hear it again for great shoes and those sweet harmonies. All right. Have you ever been thirsty? After a sweaty summer game, nothing beats the taste of a pint of Granny's crystal clear well water. Now, they called him Lefty Speedball Madden because he was the fastest softball pitcher in Carter County. Now, I know it's not right for boys to play softball, but it was all the rage in those days when men would wear blousy trousers and a flat lid cap on the field. Taller than a Clydesdale and skinnier than a tobacco stick, Lefty defined gangly. When he would stride to the pitcher's mound, he looked like a giraffe on the African savanna. Now, everybody knew when the speedball was coming because lanky old Lefty would loosen his shoulder and flex those fingertips. And the crowd would just go nuts. Lefty's all right! Lefty's all right! The only thing louder than the cheering of the crowd was the knocking of the batter's knees because he knew what was coming. Lefty would grip that ball tight across the seams, cock his wrist, and begin the famous windmill wind-up. And that pitch would crescendo with a snap at the hip and a smack in the catcher's mitt, because nobody could hit off old Lefty. Well, after one particular game, the last ladle of water had already been drunk from the team bucket, leaving Lefty a long, dry walk back to Granny's. He came in the kitchen and the screen door slammed behind him. "Granny, I'm home." No answer. He turned and looked back out the screen door, and there was Granny way off in the garden picking beans and corn for dinner. But he was thirsty right now. See, the problem was, Granny told all the kids, "You don't get a drink of water without me." Because next to the kitchen sink was a fire engine red well water hand pump. The only problem was the cat liked to perch on top of that pump handle. Now, this just wasn't any cat. This was the meanest animal in the state of Kentucky. It just never was right after those neighbor boys got through with it. Sitting there glaring at Lefty with his one good eye. Had this nasty bedhead looking hairdo, and he defiantly took his tail and twisted it around the pump handle. Lefty gulped, looked back out the screen door for Granny, and this time he noticed in the bottom of the screen door there was a hole just about that big. He thought to himself, "I'll bet Mr. Cat could sail right through that screen door hole." Because that's what teenagers sound like when they think to themselves. He dashed across the kitchen, snatched up that cat, and began his famous windmill wind-up. 12 o'clock, I got the tiger by the tail. 9 o'clock, cat fully locked and loaded. 6 o'clock at the snap, 18 claws and 30 teeth lashed onto Lefty like a koala bear. Woo! Fiery pain shot through his body. He made his own hole through the back screen door in a panic and danced down the steps into the yard, and that cat began to work him over like a lumberjack digging up and down a tree. Now, Granny could hear that back in the garden. She bolted through the corn rows, emerged into the yard, sized up the situation, and saw exactly what needed to be done. She charged across the yard, double-jumped the porch steps, swept the broomstick into her hand, did a ninja backflip off the porch, and landed with the broom wielded overhead like a samurai. "Lefty Speedball Madden, I told you, leave my cat alone, boy! Turn loose of that cat!" Ah! Oh, Granny! Granny, help me, Granny! Oh, get him off! Get him off me, Granny! I'll get that cat off you soon as I finish whooping your tail! And just as fast as she started, she stopped. Come here, Granny's precious little kitty. Wouldn't you know, that cat pranced right down off of Lefty's frame, saddled up by Granny's leg, and with its tail, slapped her a high five. The poor boy just collapsed in the yard, disheveled, to say the least. Well, Granny grabbed him by the ear, dragged him back across the yard, up the porch steps, through the broken screen door, and set him down in the kitchen chair to dress his wounds. Eventually, Lefty's uncontrollable sobbing subsided, and he managed to articulate these words. Granny, can I have a drink of water?